back to the Scaling with Media podcast. I'm your host, Derek Stupski, and today I have Ling Agaran, who is the owner and founder of HMUA's Business Academy, and she is coming in from British Columbia, Canada. Welcome to Scaling with Media podcast.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, super excited to have you on and pick your brain about HMUA. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what that is?
Sure. So HMUA stands for Hair and Makeup Artists. So I help hair and makeup artists triple their income within 90 days. And the reason I did this is I'm also a makeup artist and I struggled a lot charging my worth. And a lot of hair and makeup artists, they go to school, they learn the skills, but then they come out of school not learning how to get clients and attract the clients. Worst of all, they end up settling and not charging their worth, which kind of lead them to this painful struggle of charging less, and then they have to create multiple stream of income or 9-to-5 job, which is not really where we want to go as hair and makeup artists.
Yeah, I love the mission. I love your what you want to do in 90 days, triple their business just by probably making some pricing changes in some ways about getting leads. But the biggest thing that I think that you hit like the nail on the head with is the fact that it could be hair and makeup, it could be fitness, it could be chiropractic or whatever. I mean, like you develop the skills in school to perform the service, but nobody ever discloses to you, how do you get the leads? How do you set your price points? How do you work margins? How do you balance your books? And so I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, when they first get into running their own business, they kind of fall into that trap, and all of a sudden they're undercharging for their services and they're wondering why they can't pay their bills, and it just becomes this big struggle. So I absolutely love what you're doing. So how long have you been running your business academy?
Sure. So I actually been it's something that I've never actually wanted to do. It wasn't something like I wanted to be a coach. My passion as a makeup artist has led me to my purpose. So as I was struggling as a makeup artist, I created this vision of me wanting to charge my worth and going from having a limiting belief of not being able to charge a lot and becoming an independent and lucrative in the makeup world. And so background is I had a 9-to-5 and I quit it. I quit my 9-to-5 to chase my dream. And that kind of led me to becoming a coach. So I've had this program, I've developed a program since the beginning of the pandemic. And so that's kind of like open doors for me, which is something that I never thought I would be doing and becoming a coach, because it wasn't something that I aspired to be. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, serve my clientele, to be a makeup artist. And it kind of led me to this path of sharing my wealth, sharing my knowledge, sharing my journey as a makeup artist, going from a struggling makeup artist to tripling my income and reaching the goals that I had in that. So since pandemic, and it's been an amazing journey so far.
I love it. So with the transition to you becoming a consultant, becoming a coach, even though it wasn't in the plan, are you enjoying it? Are you glad that you made that transition?
I love it. I do. And I say this to my clients all the time, because how I became a consultant or a coach is when doors opened and my journey was online. And that's how I was very open and I was very authentic online, and people were following my journey, going from charging $50 for makeup to, becoming a destination makeup artist. And how I came about is a lot of my peers, hair and makeup artists, were inspired by that journey. And so it kind of almost, again, like I said, that passion led me to that purpose of becoming a consultant. And it kind of trickled down from there. I love it. I enjoy it. I love the clients. And it's not even about the money anymore. It's about waking up every single day and having my clients go, wow, you've changed my life, from charging at $100 to now charging $1,000, and be able to pay my bills, be able to do what I love and make money unapologetically, So
Yeah.
I love that.
So you've seen jumps that big from someone charging $100 for a particular service to upwards of $1,000 and still getting it.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so I don't think this is going to be hair and makeup specific. I think what you're about to share with us could be spread across a lot of service industries. What is one of the nuggets or the secrets to making almost a 10x jump?
Yeah. So one thing that I've learned in the industry is as a hair and makeup artist, we are so saturated. Thanks to Instagram, thanks to YouTube, anyone can be a hair and makeup artist. And because of that, we put ourselves in a very saturated market. And so, what I teach my clientele is pretty much create a brand, a luxury brand, not about your service anymore. It's beyond your service. It's about creating relationship. It's about kind of going away from the norm. So I always call it like them as a makeup artist or hairstylist, they're general hair and makeup artists where they're competing with everyone, but they're not really now creating a sense of giving the luxury service, right? So one of the things that I teach in the academy is moving away from a general makeup artist and going into a specialized makeup artist. So attracting those ideal clients and that client alone as a makeup artist or hair artist, we're not used to niching down. We want to serve everyone and anyone. And I
Sure.
think that's the biggest thing is having clarity on who the client that you want to attract with and sticking to that. And then from that, going from knowing and having clarity on who that person is, and then creating an irresistible offer based on that clientele. And then the third thing is having an intentional marketing system that you can plug in to your business based on the client that you're attracting.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. And so I also think it kind of falls hand in hand where if you're charging $100 for a service, the way that you're going to pay your bills is by volume, and you need to just be open to everybody. But you start charging a premium service, you can now start attracting premium clients, niche specific clients that allow you to charge five, 600, 700, $1,000 for their appointments.
Absolutely. And now this gives you the ability to serve at a higher caliber, right? Instead of just now going hair and makeup service the day of your wedding or the day of your event, you're that 150. A lot of makeup artists or hair artists say, I'm having a hard time selling $85 hair and
Mm-hmm.
makeup. How can I be if I'm having that such a hard time now, how can I even charge at $100 or $1,000, which is kind of almost too good to be true. But what they don't realize, of course, if I were to say I will do your makeup for $1,000 on that day, there's no value in that. You're just giving your skills. But
Right.
if you were to serve and give them that offer and you were doing every single thing that they want and now you're just creating an experience for them instead of just the skill, so you move away from that and then now you're just giving them a experience of a lifetime.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. And I also think that, it does two things. One is if you're looking at the hair and makeup industry, like you said, very saturated. There's lots of people, especially being able to spread the word through social media. Um, and it almost becomes like a commodity, right? It's a race to the bottom because now you got to cut prices to try to beat the competitor down the street just to gain extra business and all of that. But I think when you separate yourself and you're charging 10 times more than everybody else, there's almost this curiosity and this intrigue as to why does Ling charge 10 times more than 123 Beauty down the street, right? And so there's this curiosity around what it is that you do. And I also think it positions you as an absolute expert because if you were that good, would you be charging $100?
Yeah.
No, right? So your price points are going to align with the experience and the results that they're going
Yeah.
to get.
Absolutely. And that comes up quite a bit in a lot of hair and makeup artists. And one thing that I always say is if you were to charge $100 or $50, you're just attracting those budget clientele. So you're not making room for the high-end clientele, like we are giving a luxury service, it's not a necessity. And so if you were to offer more than $100, you would be attracting a different type of clientele. And that's the beauty of it. It's just really changing that perspective on, and if you think about the clients that want that service and that want that luxury, and they love your work, and they come in and they say how much, and if I were to say, yeah, I charge $100, they're gonna be not wanting that,
Mhm.
because there is that perspective, like, your prices, it has to be, what's wrong with this, like, is there,
Why is
why
it so
so
cheap?
cheap? Yes.
So what was your light bulb moment that you realized like charging $100 is not the way? You obviously had a pivoting moment because I'm assuming you came into the industry like most, and we're charging, the competitive prices. So what was that moment that you were like, I'm going to start charging 5 to 10 times more than everybody else?
It's just knowing my worth, right? I was compromising my worth, and people would come in and be like, can you do it for $50 less? And it's like, well, hold on. By the time I pack my bags, by the time I drive to them, I'm going to their location. $50 isn't really my worth. 6 hours later, by the time I'm done, I'm really not getting paid more if you want to put it in a hourly wage, right? So that was the light bulb moment. And also, I had an income goal. So if I had a $5,000 income goal, I would be chasing clients all the time,
Oh
and I
yeah, you'd be
wouldn't be,
exhausted.
yeah, and I would be burning both ends. So I decided that I wasn't going to compromise my worth. I know my skills, I know what I have to offer. And so at that moment, I decided to stand my ground, and that knowing that the people that appreciate me and see my value and see my worth are going to pay me that price that I'm asking for.
Yeah, I love that. I really, really do. And I'm glad that you did have that light bulb moment and the understanding of like, you are an expert, you're going to get paid your worth. And I think it does attract that certain clientele. Now, I want to go back to the budget discount clientele, coming from a world of service as well. Um, I've also noticed that those that try to negotiate, try to nickel and dime, and try to get it, the discounts and all of that fun stuff, end up being the biggest pains in the butt when it comes down to it. And they're the most needy clients. So wouldn't you want to attract higher ticket clients that not only enjoy your service and the experience, but they see your value, they see your worth. And what I've also noticed is that the more that somebody pays, magically, the less pain in the butt they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with that. And there's something to be said about that as well.
I love it. So, Ling, I want to ask you a couple personal, like business questions. We've been talking about your business as a whole, the services that you provide to people around the world. What do you feel is like your number one, or your top two strengths as a business owner?
Okay, so I think being authentic, right? Because I feel like, knowing your worth, you become authentic on that, and you attract the exact same people that you want to attract. And I think that says a lot, because there's so many people in our space where, as a makeup artist or a hair artist, there's so many of us. And for me, that probably is one of my biggest strengths, is being authentic as I can be, and focusing on the service and knowing that I can give the best service to my clients.
I love that. I love that. Now I want to flip to the other side. I know that being an entrepreneur myself and interviewing so many entrepreneurs right now, that there are certainly strengths and passions and things that we get excited to do. And on the flip side, there are things that we're not really that good at, nor does it like get us excited, but it still needs to get done, or we hire someone to be that complementary piece. So what are those areas for you as a business owner, entrepreneur, that you're just like, I would rather just not do it, and I'm going to hire someone to take care of that for me?
Yeah. So being a perfectionist comes as a makeup artist, because we're giving this luxury service. And one thing for me is, I love being around people. I'm not necessarily like the techie person. I'm terrible at that. And so I get to this procrastination mode when I don't get to, when I don't know exactly how to carry on a task, or steps to carry on, you procrastinate. So that's probably one of my biggest thing. And so what I've realized throughout my entrepreneurship is I procrastinate things, so therefore I can't move on to my next goal. And so what I've done so far is delegate. Leave it to the expert to do what needs to be done, but I'm still in control of that and I still know exactly how to do it. It just takes me a little bit longer. And so if I do delegate and leave it to the expert, then I can just show up and do what I love to do as an entrepreneur.
And you feel by doing that, your speed to execution is a lot faster than it would
Absolutely.
be just kind of running on the hamster wheel and hoping to figure it out or take the next step.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like time is my currency right now. I don't necessarily, a lot of entrepreneur will say I'll do it on my own because I don't have to pay and it wouldn't cost me money. But at the same time, I've learned that time is money.
Yeah,
So I'd
absolutely.
rather leave that to the expert that's going to do it faster and better job than I can, and then I can just do what I'm good at.
I love it. I think you're right on the money with that. I think you're 100% right on the money. And a lot of the times when businesses are looking to scale, they don't want to spend those resources. When
Yeah.
knowing, like, if you understand that, hey, if I spend $1,000 to do this, it will take hours off of my plate, and it will probably get me a 2, 3, 4, 5 times return. So why not spend $1,000 to free up more time, allow you to stay in your creative genius, do what you do best, and continue to move the business forward. So I think I love it. I think you're right on the money. Ling, I got one last question for you. And this is one of my favorite questions to ask a majority of our guests. And that is, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself, a younger version of yourself, what is one piece of advice you give yourself?
Don't wait for the perfect opportunity.
Mm,
Don't wait for opportunity, but create your own opportunity. I stayed, you know, comfortable and feeling like I need to do a certain things before I could do a certain things, right? And so I stayed there for 10 years serving at $50. And what I would say is go for it. Don't worry about how you're going to do it, but just kind of worry about why you want to do it. So I hear a lot of hair and makeup artists that tells me I'll do it in January, I'll do it in February. There isn't really a perfect time to do something. It's just knowing why you want to do it. At the end of the day, how bad do you want it? And for me, that was probably one of my biggest things, because if I were to executed what I wanted 10 years earlier, I would have been farther along in my career. And so that's probably a one big breakthrough I've learned in this journey.
I love that. That gets me excited because we are very mutually aligned on that message. So I want to give you, Ling, the opportunity here. If we have people who are listening to this that may be interested in learning more about your services, or they know somebody they're listening to and they're going, oh my gosh, my mom's been doing it for 25 years and she still charges $50 an appointment. I would love to be able to give her some of her time back, help her build more of a financial freedom. How can they find you? What's the best way to get in contact? How can they apply to be a part of your program? Give us a lowdown there.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's Ling, Ling dot Agaran. I'm also on Facebook, same thing, Ling Agaran, Ling Agaran. So you can find me there. Message me is probably the best way to do it, because we have a wait list right now. And so it's better if you message me, come into my DM, say hi to me, and we'll take it from there.
And let her know that you heard it from the Taylor Green Media podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, Ling, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Thank you so much. And I really, truly enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you found value in this conversation, make sure that you're finding Ling, give her a follow on her social media, connect with her if you know of someone that would benefit from her services. If you love this episode, make sure that you're giving this a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast so we can continue to deliver entrepreneur stories from around the world. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.